This may be one of the most hypocritical things ever done by a United States politician. Florida Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott have co-sponsored a bill filed by Texas Senator Ted Cruz that would impose term limits on members of Congress. The legislation would limit senators to two 6-year terms and members of the House of Representatives to three 2-year terms. Cruz introduced similar legislation in 2017 and 2019. Washington is more dysfunctional than ever, and I'm fighting every day to make reforms in the best interest of American families. Career politicians are never going to make the tough choices needed to get our nation on a successful path. They care more about politics and their next election than the future of this country. That has to end now. We need to reimagine government, and term limits are the right place to start, said the career politician Rick Scott. But the reason this is hypocritical is because Rubio is at the end of his second term. He's going to be up for re-election next year for a third term. And if he runs for a third term, and if he's reelected to it, that will mean that he will have stayed in office longer than the damn bill that he is supposedly supporting, uh, sponsoring. It's kind of like if I were to put out a bill that says we should ban alcohol, and then I walk around town with drinking a big jar of it. And listen, I personally think term limits are stupid because I think the voters should be the ones that decide how long someone stays in office. Um, the only office I think that there might be a reason to believe should have term limits is the presidency, but that's because of the precedent set by Washington of only having two terms. Um, but again, I think the voters are the best way to limit a politician. And this also really is not about my particular opinion, but the fact that Rubio is endorsing people only having two terms in the Senate while apparently getting ready to run for a third term. So if he's reelected, I'm going to take this video because I'm going to download it and keep a separate copy of it. And I'm going to re-upload it on the day that he's sworn in and say, oh, what happened to that? How's that third term that you apparently think should be illegal going for you? Because I just want politicians to stop doing these grandstanding things. You know that these quote unquote career politicians are not going to vote to limit their time in office. So why the hell do you introduce this BS? Why don't you work on something that's actually going to be changed? Like, you know that these people don't want to lose their seats and they want to stay as long as they're, elected to stay. So your solution is to put up a bill that you know they're not going to vote for and then not even exercise the belief system you have as espoused by the bill. If Rubio said he wasn't going to run for a third term, I would not be using this against him. I would say, well, he's just a person who I disagree with, but the principle, they actually stand by their beliefs. But he's running for a third one, as he's saying he shouldn't have a third one. Whatever. I don't get people. And there are a lot of progressives that actually support term limits, which is really disturbing because, like I said, that is on the assumption that you're going to find a politician as good as the one that you have at the time. You can always there's just this belief that when you get rid of one, the next one's going to be better, or that they don't start becoming awful until they've been there for 10 or 20 years. It's just sad, but whatever. People will do as they'd like. I just want this hypocrisy to be on the record.